And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. We've got a hot listing here in Tampa Bay. We've got a property at 2817 Gulf City Road in Ruskin. This is one of my favorite listings right now. This is a property that's 23 acres, waterfront on the Little Manatee River. So imagine if you're a builder, developer, and an entrepreneur, and you'd want to invest on this land. You build, you develop, you build that American dream, and you could subdivide these lots. So you got 23 acres. Just imagine putting condos, apartments, townhomes on that property, maybe some boat ramps, boat docks up front, and you got bay access out there into the Gulf of Mexico. The fishermen would love it. The people that love outdoors and water sports, families would love it. 23 acres, prime waterfront development land for sale. 2817 Gulf City Road in Ruskin, Florida. That's Hillsborough County. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, we got Alex BlackBelt Lima in the house. Alex, what's up, man? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, bro?
Awesome.
Always great to be here.
I like the new producer's corner there, the Black Belt corner.
That's it, man. The Black Belt corner. You guys see it right there over the shoulder, Black Belt Fitness.
Yeah, I love it. It's looking good, man. Tell us a little bit more about what's going on in your world. I know you're doing a lot of training, helping people, with either sharpening up those skills in terms of, personal development, safety, and personal protection.
Yeah, so I'm post surgery now. Right after, at the end of the year for Thanksgiving, I was given the blessing to, which was great, to get back to business, the things that I always love to do. So. I never stopped. I continued to teach and to do things, but I was handicapped. I was at a handicap. So now to be back to where I have full range of motion and just be putting back, building up full strength, full power to do the things that I really love to do. Go a little harder. I stayed in shape, obviously, but there's always a difference between being in shape and then being in competition shape.
Yeah.
And that's my goal, is to get back in competition shape. And I have just some things that, I'm not done with the game yet. I want to keep going, and I want to do some things. And along the way, I want to bring up the next generation too. My daughter, I want to get her up and going. And I have a lot of great students now that either train with me were Thai boxing or mixed martial arts, or even for strength and conditioning. My workload is increasing. I have a lot of new clients that have caught in the bug and want to start getting in shape with me. So lots of private lessons. So I have a few spots open for that as well still. So, but
I love it.
Blessed and highly favored, man, like you say.
I like that. Yeah, it reminds me when you're talking about your arm and you were kind of down and out, you were kind of hampered there, handicapped. Have you ever heard Jordan Peterson in one of his books? He talks about I think it was like lobsters. When they get in a fight, one of the lobsters loses an arm or the other one. So he talks about this is a chapter about stand up tall with your shoulders back. Just the fact that you stand up tall with your shoulders back, your body is in that position where you're releasing more testosterone. You have more hormones in play, and you just feel more that confidence level. So it's kind of interesting. You're talking about you had one arm kind of down for a little bit, but you kept training and you kept working through it. It just kind of reminded me of that for some reason.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm a big Jordan Peterson fan. His daughter's really good too. If you see some of her stuff that she posts and does as well.
Love that guy.
But it is. There's a lot to your poise and your confidence, and that affects your performance as well. I mean, if you walk into a room and you're slouching and you're like, you just look like you're nervous, your performance, you're already coming off that way to the audience or to the crowd for your sports performance or whatever. Conor McGregor is phenomenal at that. He walks in and he's King Gorilla as he struts into the cage and stuff.
That's right.
But so even though I couldn't physically train how I wanted to train this past year, it was a lot of mental training and discipline. I had to pull myself out of some low places. I had a lot of big plans, and a lot of them weren't able to come to fruition due to being injured. But it was a mental challenge. So my mental game greatly improved. I proved to myself, and that's all you really need to do is prove to yourself, but others as well, that I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop just because I'm down an arm or I'm down a leg or whatever it may be. So.
I like it. I'm going to play a clip here about the trust poll. There was an interesting trust poll. We did one on yesterday's show, but this is a different one in the United States.
Okay, so looking specifically at the numbers from the U.S., what were some trends we saw?
Well, let's start on the economic front, where just 36% of Americans say that they think their family will be better off in 5 years. More broadly, 55% of Americans say they trust business, while 42% say they trust the government. But what's fascinating is that for the first time in the history of this poll, Republicans were actually less likely than Democrats to say that they trust business as an institution. That discrepancy really played out across the board with the other institutions as well, as the majority of Republicans were also distrustful of government, media, and NGOs. Each of those was around the 35% range.
So what do we think has caused that dip in trust, specifically in business?
Well, there seem to be a few theories. We've talked on the show about the fact that many conservative Americans feel businesses are pushing what they view as woke ideologies and prioritizing social justice over serving their customers. And that does seem to be playing a factor here. And remember, many big businesses implemented vaccine mandates that were pretty unpopular among many on the right. That likely played a role as well.
Yeah, I would think government trust is at an all-time low. If you look at the CDC, all the stuff coming out about the jab and the COVID so-called vaccine, it wasn't even a vaccine; it was an experimental mRNA, shot basically. And then the FDA coming out with the food pyramid. We did a show on that last week, a couple days back, and the FDA manipulating the food pyramid because Coke was paying off certain institutions and the NAACP and the Hispanics Association, basically saying, hey, Coca-Cola, here we are, this big, huge monstrosity of an international company. We're going to give you money, but on the other side, you need to attack parents who claim that Coca-Cola sugar is detrimental to the kids' health. So they wonder why, trust is at an all-time low, Alex.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. When we're in person and we are around a group of people, or when you were in high school, even now, man, when you go out and do business, right? You catch a vibe from certain people. Like when we're in a room, you hang out with somebody or you see him a couple times, you eventually go, yeah, that guy's trustworthy. He's
right.
Cool. Or like, you know what, I'm going to bring them in my circle. They're worth it.
You get a feel.
Or you see somebody and you're like, I don't want to do business with this guy. There's something about him, right? So people put all these trusts in these news outlets and in these politicians and that come on these TV screens that they have never actually physically met.
Yeah.
And they put the trust in them and everybody just goes with it like sheep.
Yeah.
That is incredibly bizarre to me. Piggybacking on the food pyramid thing, did you see the latest thing with eggs about the choline in them?
No.
I had something that I wanted to bring up actually about it. It's really cool. That kind of goes with what you just said. This just came out. I saw it on Joe Rogan first, and then I did my research with it. So it says American Clinic says that nutrient in eggs could increase risk of blood clots. So now eating eggs is going to give you blood clots.
Wow.
Right? So an American Clinic says that a nutrient found in eggs could make people more prone to blood clotting. The Cleveland Clinic conducted a study suggesting that the nutrient choline could increase the risk of blood clots when consumed in high concentrations. What's a high concentration? How many eggs do you have to eat in order to get that? So we were talking earlier before the show about the people that break the news to you and give you like the propaganda are the same people that sell the cure.
Yeah,
I bet you money, right now on the air, that Cleveland Clinic or someone associated with them is going to come up with some sort of pharmaceutical something that's going to help while you eat eggs to break down choline or something like that.
Right. Well,
ridiculous.
It's also a cover up based on the COVID shot too, because there's been so many people with clots and heart issues from the COVID shot. And speaking of that distrust, one of my family members sent me a message too about Project Veritas just coming out with another video where basically the Pfizer executive was saying on camera the quiet part out loud. I forgot the details on it, but I love that Project Veritas and some of those undercover videos they find. I mean, they really catch these people, in these lies.
Yeah, it's something, man. It's crazy. And where does it end? I mean, there's enough heat around eggs right now, anyways.
Yeah,
That's
just it. Heat. Coffee, is it good for you? Eggs, is it good for you? Dark chocolate versus milk chocolate. These different. There's always something on those things. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we got Fred DeFelice in the house. Waterscience.us. We're gonna talk about water quality, what's in the water, and more from him coming up. Plus, feel good story of the day: 9-year-old finds giant megalodon tooth on Maryland beach. 5-inch tooth found on the beach. More on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.